here is...
You know you do, Michael.
So we got one more clip from Morning Joe, because we're seeing so much of what the problem is with so much of society, of our politics. Here's Joe and Mika talking with Donnie Deutsch on the same program today about how disillusioned they are with what Donald Trump has become.
And I know, Donnie, you've known him for a long time. The guy that's in the White House now is not the guy we knew 2 years ago. The guy that's in the White House now is not even close, because the Donald Trump we knew for the better part of 10, 12 years was always in on the joke.
Yeah.
He'd go, here's Trump water, and then it'd wink at you.
Yeah.
Right? And here's this. Hey, look at it. And it always wink, kind of like, they love that.
Yeah.
Look, they love that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, they just come here and they love seeing my name. It makes them feel like they're part of something. He was always in on the joke. Without getting into great detail, I will just say that somebody at the top of his campaign last summer said to me, we're all really worried about his emotional state.
Yeah.
But this is our...
All right, wait a second. Pause it. I want you to go back. I want to just take like the first part here. In on the joke. Let me translate what that means.
Yeah, please do.
In on the con. Knew when he was selling people Trump water that it was just crap water with his label on it. Knew when he was selling people Trump University, he was just scamming people out of tens of thousands of dollars.
Knew every position he was offering when he was running as a candidate was complete crap too, which is Joe Scarborough's job, if he knows that, to tell us that.
In on the joke.
Right.
But the second part of what he's about to say now is also crucial, because look, 2 years ago, we can all remember what was happening 2 years ago, right? He was on there just making some type of racist diatribe about something, whatever it was. But a year ago, last summer, 2 years ago was when he came down the escalator and said Mexicans are rapists. That was 2 years ago.
Were the Mexicans in on the joke?
Yeah, I guess. But the joke is
he was winking the whole time. We get it.
But now we're hearing from Joe that last summer he's getting a report that Donald Trump is mentally unstable. Completely not only do we get, that's what reporters do, right? On background, I've heard from a very reliable source that this guy running for president is mentally unstable.
But they were still in on the joke then, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, and it was still very funny. But not only do we not hear that specific thing, you look at their coverage over the course of that, and it was alternately fawning and occasionally tisking. But go back and let's listen to the second part of it.
They just come here and they love seeing my name. It makes them feel like they're part of something. He was always in on the joke.
I'm ripping him off.
Without getting into great detail, I will just say that somebody at the top of his campaign last summer said to me, we're all really worried about his emotional state.
Yeah.
But this is our analysis.
He's changed. No, this isn't our analysis. I'm telling you what somebody said.
Yeah.
This guy is
Pause it for 1 second. Mika just realized, holy cow, we were sitting on this story for a year.
I know.
I love it. She's like, wait a second. We probably, and Joe just bludgeons for. He just no, it wasn't us. That was what somebody told us that we didn't reveal to the public.
You see what she just did? She tried to save this guy from
the dynamic between the two of them all the time, because she's a lot smarter than he is, and he goes forward and says something idiotic like that.
She tries to say, this was just our opinion. He goes, no, it wasn't. I was getting a report. But then I was doing actually what a reporter does.
Right.
We just didn't tell the story.
A, he's not bright, and B, he she's always the person he bullies over and just basically tells to shut up. So what's different?
All right, continue.
Our analysis.
He's changed. No, this isn't our analysis. I'm telling you what somebody said.
Yeah.
This guy is not even the same person he was a year ago.
She just looks sad.
Yeah,
I know. She looks like she's about to cry. But I've seen her do that before too. She just looks down and goes, yeah. I mean, she just sort of pipes in because that's the only way she can say anything on that show.
Let me just wonder,
face. He did it.
I wonder, does she walk off the set and they walk, I mean, I know where the set is, and they walk out and they walk into the green room, and she just looks at him and goes, are you a moron?
Yeah. I hope so.
No.
Do you realize you just told the world that we were sitting on the story from an incredibly reliable source that this man who was running for president was mentally unstable.
And by the way, moron, maybe not a great idea to say that you were over my house in the previous description, too.
You were just there for a minute?
Just for a minute.
Just there for a couple
Why
minutes.
did you just see the guy going out and not going in if you were there for just a minute? Did you see him pull up?
Yeah, sometimes it takes 2 or 3, but generally I'm out of there.
This is why I want to practice before we go on air.
No, I don't think that she has. I think that their engagement is really upsetting to me because of their relationship on air. I mean, he is
Abusive.
Abusive.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, he's verbally abusive, as he is to everybody
He's
else.
absolutely
but he's
verbally
abusive
abusive.
to her to the point, and the physical kind of sort of glower, he sort of lords over her, and then she goes and she looks down, and
the closer toward it being out there that they're in a relationship, the less pushback she's given. So,
I mean,
So tempted to make a joke, which I really should not make, about Joe Scarborough's past.
Well, look, I mean, I think, listen,
somebody hitting
the
their
point
head
is,
on a
no,
coffee table?
I think, listen, the point is,
he's also been married 3 times, and he still likes to say, no, but let me say this, as a guy who just sits there and constantly says, but I'm a conservative, and I'm like, well, that's not what you guys were selling in '94.
exactly.
But it's okay now for him, and he doesn't have to apologize at all, because that's completely, I mean,
I'm
I
not
can't
going to
stand
judge
him.
their relationships, and she's a grown woman. If she wants to be in a relationship like that, just like Melania, I'm sure she finds some benefit in it. It's not one that
She wants to be with an abusive guy. I mean, that's her choice. She wants to bleed from the face.
But more important than their engagement is the fact that they were sitting on this story, which they just admitted, and they were sitting on 2 stories. One, anchors are being blackmailed. 2, we had credible reports that this guy was mentally unsound. Those are 2 very big, important stories that they are just trotting out now as part of their
But that's
Twitter
just
war.
our analysis. No, it's not. You guys told me.
Yeah, but you know what's important? I mean,
We have documents. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you were on the call.
The meta to all this, though, is really important, too. It's because it's what it says about this show. And a lot of the rest of the media, I mean, you've seen how many people, and many of whom have been some of the nighttime progressive anchors here and there, whatever, have been in and out of that station. And yet Joe Scarborough has always been safe there. There are times his ratings were in the toilet and nobody's watching the show. But it's the insiders who get together and hang out like they're hanging out at a bar somewhere. He doesn't see himself as a journalist because he's not one. He doesn't feel any compunction to have to report a story like that or do anything because Donald Trump is in on the joke and he's in on the joke and they're buddies and they're, there's no thought of what his responsibility is as a broadcaster. It's never crossed his mind.
Contemplate the idea that Woodward and Bernstein just got into a fight with a Nixon aide, and then they go, "Oh, incidentally, we found out that you broke into the DNC headquarters."
That was totally unfair. It's a failing Washington Post.
That's perfect. That's what this is.
Pretty stunning that they trot this out only when there's a Twitter war. And so what's going to happen next? Donald Trump's going to go out and start I've got some nudie pics of
I'll kill the story on Bernstein's lipo
Mika,
section.
and then they go oh, incidentally, we saw him paying off Felix Seder to go and do steal the email.
Seriously, who knows?
Know absolutely everything. They're like, wait a second. Donald Trump was actually personally loading kilos on one of his family's ship, jets. And we didn't want to say that before because we were at Mar-a-Lago.
Well, that's just our opinion.
That's
No,
just
it's not. We got pictures.
We saw it.
Generally, I'm not in favor, of course, as you know, as a card-carrying progressive, but I think this may be a time to rendition Joe Scarborough somewhere.
Let's
find out what he knows.
Let's go back 2 years ago through our time machine, which is actually called a recorded video. And from what what kind of man Donald Trump was 2 years ago. Back when he was in on the joke that he was conning people.
Right.
Look at, I'm selling water. Can you believe this? The stuff these people will buy. Wait till they buy this. This is 2 years ago, where Donald Trump, the serial assaulter of women, was on the program hosted by the serial assaulter of women. I get them confused. They're side by side.
At the
You
station
figure out.
that was run at that time by the serial assaulter of women. Yeah.
That's why they wear. You'll notice in this clip. Bill O'Reilly wears a striped blue tie, and Trump wears a solid blue tie, so you can tell them apart. All right, go.
This is
Oh, it's not a video? Okay, the headline
still
is
shot, though.
Headline is O'Reilly gives Donald Trump a platform to continue calling Latin American immigrants rapists and criminals. I won't take back my comments because it's totally accurate.
They also each wear
Wink,
a little
wink.
pin.
Yeah, there
Instead
you
of the
go.
American flag pin, they wear a Mike Tyson one on there.
Unbelievable. I mean,
Mike
this
Tyson,
is.
he's still Blackcliff.
I mean, I wonder, well,
He
no, I
salts.
don't wonder. I was going to say, I wonder if, like, the head of NBC News will say, in the future, we would like our journalists to report major stories in real time, not as as retribution for a Twitter war.
Right. We would hope that when our journalists,
MSNBC style guide.
we'd hope
Yeah.
that our journalists' faces are not being called bleeding.
Memo.
They might also.
You remember when they suspended Keith Olbermann
Yes.
for contributing
donation, yeah.
to a like a local candidate somewhere?
I actually think it was Gabby Giffords pre.
Oh, was it?
It was, but it was before that whole thing.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll send a memo saying just a reminder, if you stumble on some of the biggest stories perhaps that you could tell, a president blackmailing the press
And he
with
has
secret information.
he treats women horribly. Well, that's just our analysis. No, we saw it, Mar-a-Lago. Remember that woman that he grabbed?
Or that he's insane, right? Share it with our audience, or at least let's raise it at an editorial meeting.
That's right. These are relevant factors.
You just feed
it to somebody
else.
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay. Nothing bad.
That's
came out
why
of it.
they've
He's
hired
just
Hugh
president.
Hewitt.
Yeah.
That's why they've hired Hugh Hewitt, so that Joe Scarborough can have that stuff reported. They can give it to him, and he can announce it on the weekends. I mean, I just find that stunning, and
You has serious things to
I mean,
focus on,
I
like
don't-
taking away people's health care.
This show happened this morning, so I hadn't seen any take that points that out. But it seems to me to be pretty glaring, right? Like, I remember when we were mad about Bob Woodward saving his big stories for his book
Right.
and not printing it in the Post
When
during
Bush-
the Bush
yeah.
administration. This, you're saving it just in case we need it for a Twitter war?
That's
I
right.
mean,
In
seriously.
case our friend blackmails us, we'll be.
No, they hid the blackmail part. They didn't do it then either.
That's true. It's only when it came out on Twitter. Yeah.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos